Hi, welcome back to my channel. This week I will be reading what I consider to be my most anticipated books. So let's jump right in. So I have a list of 6 books. This list only has 5, but it's because one of them is a duet and I didn't know the name of the duet and I didn't know the name of the first book. So I wrote down the name of the second. But anyway, I have a list of 6 books and these are books that I have heard so much about. This does not mean that these books came out this year because the first book on here I think is from like 2000, but it's the 10th edition, so it came out in 2010, like it republished in 2010. So let's jump right in. The first book is Moth to a Flame. I actually have it. This is going to be a physical book. It's also from the library. All of the physical books on here are from the library. This is the first book. I actually already started it. I literally read half last night. I couldn't put it down, but then I had to. And I told myself not to start it last night because people said they couldn't put it down. So they didn't. I didn't have a choice because I had work. But I did it anyway. And guess what? I read half. Literally half. But we're going to talk about that after. The second book on my list is, and this is in no particular order, this is just how I wrote it. The second book, let's get comfortable. The second book on my list is Supreme Survival by Tannen. This is going to be an ebook. It's on KU. I don't even know if it's a romance. So this might be the last book that I get to, only because I know it's going to be dark. And this book is already dark. So I know I don't want to read it next. So it's probably going to be my last book, but we'll see. This book I've been putting off for so long. I need to get to it. Then we have probably my most anticipated book, which is The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. This is going to be from the library. I don't have it because I was planning on going grab this one and the next book from the library tomorrow so that I can also return Moth to a Flame and Cemetery Boys. I don't even know what it's about. This was maybe from a year ago. I saw it. I saw the cover, fell in love, added it to my TBR. And it's a BIPOC author, so I'm all for it. My only dilemma with this book is it's a part of my 12 books that I want to get to template. And there's 12 books, so I'm supposed to read one a month. And I already read Cemetery Boys this month. I should be reading this next month. But it's taken so long to get this book because my personal library doesn't have it. So they had to transfer it from another library. And that took days, even though the library is in Youngsville. But it took days to get it here. So I'm not going to put that off. I'm going to try and get to it maybe this weekend. And then I wrote down The Alleged Good Girl, but that's not the full title. I think it's Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl by Joya Goffney. This is her second book. I read Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, I think back in 2021, which was her debut. Loved it. Oh, it's probably over there. Yeah, it's the second shelf right there. And this is her second book, so I want to get to it. I think the only thing that I know about it is the FMC is the daughter of a preacher. If that's the case, that kind of reminds me of, if you guys used to watch on Lifetime, Preacher's Daughters, I think. Like Going Wild. Anyway. And then my last book on the list, which is the duet. I don't know what the duet is called. The second book is called Teen Players. I think, because I ended up looking it up last night, the first book might be called Sunny Disposition by Deanna Gray. I think these two are her debut books. I don't know much about it. These are like my newest addition to my most anticipated list, but I'm tired of seeing people talk about it and I have no idea what it is. Like, I've never read it myself. I need to read it. And those two are going to be on my Kindle. And I'm planning on reading Sunny Disposition after Moth to a Flame because it's dark. Yeah, it's dark. We're gonna get into book number 1, and I'm actually currently reading it. Moth to a Flame by Ashley Antoinette. The only thing that I knew about this going into it was that she was gonna start seeing a guy that her dad didn't approve of, and he becomes toxic and abusive. So that's all I knew going into this. This is a street novel. It tells you right here. I already started this last night. I'm on page 188. When I started this last night, I read half. So I read literally all of phase 1, which is right here. It's 154 pages. I read all that last night. Yes, I did have my headphones on, but it was the book. I am eating this book up. So basically what it is, we have a girl named Raven. And Raven's dad, Ben, and her mom, Juliet? It might be Juliet. It's something with a J. He is like king of the streets. He's head dog. But he doesn't actually live on that side of town, if you know what I mean. He came up and now he lives on the other side of the streets, right? But he's still top dog. And his daughter Raven, for some reason, is obsessed with street life. And even though her dad, and she has a sister named Morgan who's deaf. I think she's 6. So yeah, this book takes place when Raven is 17 at the time and her sister Morgan is 6. You know, she's obsessed with street life, even though her dad, I mean, her character reminds me of Nunu from ATL. Trying, like, I don't know, making a name for herself on that side. But like, girl, you live on this side. Like, what's going on? But anyway, she ends up meeting this guy named Mazan. I've been saying Mazan in my head. M-I-Z-A-N. And there's another guy named Ethnic.
His name is Ethic. I don't know why I was saying ethnic.
And I know that he's gonna get his own books or something. I don't know, but I'm obsessed with him. Ethnic works with her dad, Benjamin. And Ethnic and Benjamin just can tell. They just can tell that Mazan is, one, not who he says he, like, not who he's portraying himself as towards Raven. They get together when she is 17 and he is actually 22. And basically, he wants to come up. And the only way to do that is to take down Benjamin. And so he has this elaborate plan in his head. He is going to wow Raven and break her down and eventually take down Ben. And that's exactly what he does and what he's doing. This book is a wild ride. I'm obsessed with it. It's so addictive. I think it's because it's fast-paced, but also like you're immediately thrown in and immersed in the story. I mean, page 1. I could not put it down last night, so I'm gonna hopefully finish this today so that I can return the 2 books tomorrow and get my next 2. So yes, my next check-in will more than likely be one. I hope this looks good. My next check-in will hopefully be when I finish this. So, see you later. Hi. I have some laundry to do, but I thought I'd give a little update. So I did finish Moth to a Flame last night. I wanted to update as soon as I finished it, but I had tears. Jail for all of you that pushed me to read this, which nobody like personally pushed me to read it, but like just seeing everyone talk about it, that pushed me to read it. Jail. Oh my gosh, it was such a roller coaster. I think, again, I think I said this already, what was really addicting was the storytelling. She told a story. She did what she had to do. I gave it a 5-star. I absolutely loved it. And I don't mean that in like a, oh, I loved it kind of way, because it's a dark story. It's not a romance. It's not a love story. It's, I think on the back it says a street novel, which by the way, I don't have the physical copy because I returned it today so that I could pick up, of course I put it over there, I could pick up Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl and the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. So that's why I don't have the copy with me. But on the back of it, it does say street novel, which that's exactly what it was. It was really good. I really loved it. I can't tell you the last time I read, especially a physical book. Is this crooked? I can't tell you the last time I read a physical book so fast. So yeah, I gave that a 5-star. Next, we're going to be moving on to book 2, which is going to be Sunny Disposition. I did not start it this morning. Today's Saturday. I didn't start it. I was up at 7. Well, actually, I think I was up at 6 something, but didn't get to it, so I'm going to get to it now, and then I'll check back. The only thing I think I know about, as I looked at the cover again last night, he is a hockey player, and I think she is some kind of a gamer. But I think the second book, they're both hockey players. So let's see. Sunny Disposition is 34 chapters with 2 epilogues, and it is 268 pages, so that's not bad. It's even less than I thought. So I'm gonna start that after I finish the laundry and then I'll come back, hopefully today, but we'll see. I would like to finish it and then maybe start the second book, because I would like to start. I told myself I was gonna read one of the physical ones this week, so I think I'm gonna go with a guide, the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, only because it is the longer of the 2. And this is literally the most anticipated book, but it's the longest of the 2, and we'll be home all day tomorrow, so I will hopefully get to this. So I don't know if after Sunny Disposition I want to read that, or do I just want to go ahead and read the second book. I don't know. We gonna see. But I'll be back with some kind of check-in. Ciao. I'm outside. I'm telling you now, I'm not gonna be out here for long. I don't do outdoors, and it's not a little cutesy. I'm not like other girls type. I don't like bugs. So I'm getting some cute footage with my bonnet, reading my book, and then I'll be back in the house. Ugh, it's so nasty out here. I hate outdoors. Hi. Your nutsack. Where'd you go right here? Have you lost your mind? You better take some scissors and do that. They have rocks. Dog. I told y'all I wasn't gonna be out here long. Child, y'all probably can't even hear me. That's some bull. Okay, let's talk about the book real quick though. I'm on chapter 3. It's okay. I mean, I'm only on chapter 3. Ooh, I'm all up in my mug. I'm only on chapter 3, but I don't know. I can already tell. I don't know if I'm gonna like the writing that way. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm gonna like the writing. It's okay. It also has the amnesia trope. I don't hate that trope. So I'm wondering if I'm even gonna read the second book. Knowing me, I probably will. Child, my room's a mess. I was supposed to be cleaning up. And only have 1 earring in. Well, I mean, 2 in, 1 out. I don't know. The writing's okay. It's okay. And maybe I'm just don't think I'm into this right now. I thought I would have loved a cutesy romance after reading Moth to a Flame. But maybe not. Maybe I need to read. Y'all know exactly what I'm about to do. Maybe I just need to read this. And you know what it is? Because I know myself. It's probably because I'm just getting started in here. That's exactly what it is. I hate starting books. It doesn't matter what it is. I just hate starting it. Okay, so what's going on so far? We have Finn. We start off with Finn, and he's the guy. He's a hockey player, and apparently he is the moderator for, what is her name, Naomi? Naomi, who's the FMC. He's the moderator for her game live streaming thing, but they don't know that because it's not their names. Their profile thing is a different name. And at the start of this book, he is going on a date with her, but he's a hockey player, and y'all know they like to rough people up in books. I don't know about real life, but he ends up getting into a fight, and he hits his head, or they kind of push him and he hits his head, and he gets some kind of concussion, and he has amnesia now. So he doesn't remember who he was texting. That's one of the things he forgot. So he ended up standing her up, you know, and she obviously didn't know. So he tells her what happened. Well, he says there was an accident, but he didn't say, well, I don't have any memory, you know what I mean? So he's trying to play it off, but also trying to tell the truth with her. They just ran into each other in real life because I think she's going to be staying in the same building as him or something like that. And they don't really hit it off. Because she hits him in the nose with the door. So they just met like that. So that should be interesting. I'm on chapter 4. But I think that's enough videoing for today. Because I only have one SD card, so I can't I can't use it up on this footage. So I'll be back probably when I finish it, which I'm hoping to finish today. But at this point, I don't know if I'm going to read the second book after this. I think it depends if it's shorter. It's longer. So I probably won't read the second book after this. Because I said I wanted to read the Catholic one on Sunday. So, yeah. Well, you guys. Ooh, is this not? Okay. Why is this so? Oh. I finished. I'm going to actually give it a 3.75. But I'm going to round it to a 4, obviously, for like Goodreads, Amazon, whatever. It was just a little more underwhelming than I was expecting. It was good, but I don't know. I felt like there was really no conflict. And when there was one thing that was resolved. Anyway, it was resolved so early that we still had, I mean, like 8, I'll say 7 chapters left. And I'm like, well, what are we going to be doing in these 7 chapters? It was good. I mean, I would still recommend it. I'm not going to be reading the second book right now. What time is it? 2? It's 2 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and start the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, which is my most anticipated book out of this video. So I'm just going to go ahead and start that, and I'll check back in. What's up, y'all? Can y'all see me? So this is me on lunch, on break. So, great news. I was able to finish the Catholic Guide School book yesterday. So I finished it in 2 days. I started it on Sunday, I don't know what day, but Sunday, and then I finished it. I read like 200 something pages on Monday, which was yesterday. I really liked it. I really did. Of course, just because I pressed record, now I forgot everything that I wanted to say. So I don't know if I ever spoke about what it was about. So we have a girl named Yamulet, And at least that's how I've been pronouncing it. They do have like a pronunciation guide thing. I still don't know if I'm saying it right. But we have Yamulet, who is gay. And right off the bat, we kind of see this strange like relationship she has with her mom, I would say. Because you could tell that the mom's favorite kid is probably the son. And she has a brother, Caesar. So it starts off, Caesar is going to be transferring to this Catholic school. And Yamulet ends up going with him. Now, he's a year younger. However, he skipped a grade. So they're both juniors in high school. She ends up going with him because, no one knows this, but a friend of hers at this Rover high school, Bianca, ends up outing her. Again, she was in the closet. No one knew that she was gay. This girl, Beyonce, Bianca ends up outing her because Yamulet, I think, ends up, does she kiss her or what? She may have ended up telling her feelings. And y'all know how and she's not gay, but of course she couldn't be normal and just kind of say, hey, you know, I'm not into you or something like that. No, she had to be like offended or whatever. But anyway, so she outs her. So she's not to the whole school, I guess to their friend group or something. So she ends up like going to this other Catholic school and being with her brother, keeping an eye on him, but really trying to get away from Bianca and this situation. While she's there, she's learned her lesson. She's not going to tell anyone that she's gay. So she has this little She has this little acronym thing. What would straight girls do, or what would a straight girl do? Because she's not about to be telling nobody that she's gay. So she's gonna think in her head, like, what would a straight girl do, you know? But at this school, there's a girl named Bo, and Bo is Chinese, and she is openly gay. And Yamulet can't help but fall for her, but she can't out herself, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't want to, because she's so scared, and she literally has like PTSD from the situation that happened with Bianca. I mean, it's bad, y'all. She needs money because she's so scared that when she does come out, that her mom is gonna kick her out of the house. So she's working for her mom, but she's keeping the money. I don't know why. I don't know how that was working. And she goes to this festival to sell the bracelets and the jewelry, and she sees Bianca and the mom, and I mean, she literally hides for like an hour. And then she's not making money. Like, it was that bad. But again, I really loved it. But then we also see like this relationship with her brother, and her brother is involved some kind of way. And it just broke my heart. It really did. I thought the story was told really well, and like I said before, I already knew going into this, I was more than likely going to say I thought the book could be a little shorter. I think it could have. I think at the beginning, some things could have been taken out. Like, it was, I don't know, maybe setting up for too long. It really wasn't until page 100 that I really got sucked in, which I think that's too long in some kind of like romance or contemporary book. That's too long to get sucked in, because it already shouldn't be that long. Towards the end, not the end, but towards the end, like between the last of the middle and the beginning of the end, some of that could have been taken out. I think that kind of dragged on a bit, but it was really good. I mean, I was actually a little shocked by how some things turned out, and it's not a book that had twists, you know, it wasn't suspenseful. The way that some of the characters reacted threw me for a loop. Like, just in general, like, I'm not spoiling anything, but just the way that some of their actions, I was like, I did not see that for that character, you know? So yeah, that was, let me look at my Goodreads, because I already did my review, and I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything, because every time I do one of these videos, I forget something. Oh yeah, and I also said on here that I thought it had a great balance between like cuteness, romantic things, like romancy things, and you know, real life struggles. Again, check your trigger warnings. I never ever ever mention trigger warnings in these videos, but everything I read has trigger warnings. Trigger warnings are at the beginning. It was a good balance though. So yeah, I think I decided on, I think I decided, I didn't want to give it a 5, but I think I decided on a 4.5. I think a 4.5 is a good rating, but round it to a 5. Because I mean, once I started reading from where I left off on Monday, because mind you, I only read 130 pages Sunday, and I literally read the rest yesterday, so 385 minus 130. 255 pages. Once, you know, I started back from where I left off, couldn't put it down. Couldn't put it down, besides those little parts that I think could have been taken out because it dragged on a little bit. But yeah, I think I'd be happy with giving it a 4.5. I rounded it to a 5, but also great news. I have also already started Team Players. I was hoping I could have finished it before I came out for lunch so I could actually talk about both of them. But I'm not finished yet. I checked. I have an hour and 26 minutes left. I went ahead and started it yesterday while I was at work because I couldn't read the Catholic school one until I got on lunch. But because Team Players is an ebook, I was able to start that while at work and just kind of, you know, when my work kind of fizzles, swipe the page or whatever. If I can finish it while I'm at work, we'll see, because my Kindle's on 10%, so we'll see if I can finish it. One thing that I hate about it, because a lot of people say when it comes to your Kindle, like to actually let it die and then charge it. But I hate doing that because it constantly tells you,
low battery, press OK.
just die, you know? So we'll see how much longer I can read, but I only have an hour 26 left. But all I'm gonna say is I'm glad I didn't DNF, but we'll talk about that once I finish. I will more than likely update today. If I can finish at work, I'll update on the ride home or right when I get home in the driveway. So I'll update on that. Let me finish out my lunch. I didn't bring my Kindle with me. I left it inside, but I can edit some videos. So this video is going very well. Better than I anticipated. Now, did I update yesterday like I said I would? Of course not. So I did end up finishing Team Players yesterday, which was May 23rd. I ended up finishing it at home, so that's also why I didn't update. I had about 26 minutes left, and I finished it. I'm gonna give it a 4.25. I definitely enjoyed it more than the first book. I think I liked them as a couple in general more. It was steamier than the first one, like 100 times steamier. At first, I almost wanted to DNF. I wanted to quit, but I kept going, and I'm glad I did, because I think once they got together, let me take that off. I think once they got together is when I started enjoying the story. And the whole thing is they bet. They have some kind of bet because they're two totally different people. Andorin, is that her name? Andorin? Andorin jumps into relationships very quickly. What's his face? Sam, on the other end, does not like to be attached to people at all.
So he didn't quit it. That's his motto.
So they make this bet, and I mean, that's like right at the beginning of the story, so it's very fast paced. Like, we jump into it, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of like in your face. And they make this bet that, what even was the bet? But what was the bet? That he couldn't stick to one person, i.e. Andorin, and Andorin couldn't mess around with multiple different people. Now, we know as we read the bet is useless. You know they're just gonna be with each other. Like, she's already gonna fail. Like, we already know that. But as far as the storyline goes individually, because it's like Sam had his storyline, and his storyline is actually from the first book. In the first book, if you've read it before, there's this background storyline going on with Finn, but it's that storyline, or that story or whatever, is Sam's story in this book. Wasn't really interested in that. And then Anderin's, is her name? It's Aderin. I just see my spelling now. I think it's Aderin. How am I saying Andrin?
I just realized it might be pronounced Adarin.
I think Aderin's storyline was about her and her hockey team, and how like women's sports teams in general are not supported, like the male sports team, men's sports team. So again, it was okay. Their storylines were okay individually, but I preferred the storyline of them together. So when they're working on this bet, or when both of their storylines kind of collide, which was interesting towards the end. I did enjoy this more than the first one. The first one just, compared to this one, it just didn't do it for me. So yeah, there also isn't going to be a reading vlog thing for this one because I read it at work. But yeah, I'd give this a 4.25. I'm happy with that. Rounded down to a 4 for Goodreads. So the next book that I will probably check in with tomorrow, which is Thursday, is Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl. I did start this yesterday. I read the first 105 pages. I'm currently on 130. Could I finish this today? Absolutely. It's 6:36. Today's Wednesday. Abbott is still not on yet. And The Masked Singer just finished last week. So there's nothing playing on TV today. And I have what, 200 and something left? And I did read the other book, the Catholic one. I did read about 200 pages in that one night. So I have my headphones fully charged. I didn't use them yesterday, but they needed to charge. They're fully charged. We're gonna get back into this so I can hopefully finish it. I also did start my last book, which is Supreme Survival. I did start it at work, so I don't know if this is gonna have like a reading clip either, because it just depends if tomorrow I'm gonna continue this and finish it before I get home. If I don't finish it before I get home, then I can film a little something. This one I'm gonna film right after this, so yeah, hopefully I can finish this today. I only have, let's see exactly how much. This is 358 pages. 228 pages. That's not bad at all. I am enjoying it though, but let's not get into that. I'm gonna go quickly take a bath. It's 6:37, so hopefully by 7 I will be settled down and reading. Fingers crossed. What's up? Guess what? We're finished with the... Am I lopsided? Guess what? I'm finished with the entire video because I read both books. Period. Hold on. Give me a second. I need to let my peeps know. So let's get into it. I almost wanted to save this book for last because I loved it so much. But this reading vlog, like me reading it, is the clip before this. So we're gonna talk about it now. Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl. Honey, let me tell you a funny story. So normally when I go into a book, I read the synopsis once, or I read it multiple times, like before I decide to read it. Then when I decide to read it, I read it one more time. I read like the first 6 chapters and then I reread it, because normally by then some of the things that they've discussed in the synopsis has already gone on in the book. The synopsis makes more sense to me. I don't know why, but I must have skimmed this very first paragraph of the synopsis every single time I read it. Because when I started it, I'm like, oh wait, we talking about sex? Like what? Child, that's the first paragraph. Monique is a preacher's daughter who detests the impossible rules of her religion. Everyone expects her to wait until marriage, so she has no one to turn to when she discovers that she physically can't have sex. That's literally the first paragraph, and I think I skimmed that last line every single time I read this. But yeah. So basically what happens is Monique is a preacher's daughter, and the way that she was brought up, she's brought up to think that sex is like a taboo topic. Sex is for marriage, and it's honestly like for procreation. That's how they don't mention that, but the way that her parents, you know, talked or did not talk about sex with her, I mean, that's how it came off as. Not only to wait for marriage, but it's for procreation only. That's how it came off to me. But she has a boyfriend named Dom, and he's a goody two-shoes. But you know how that go. And he's the drummer, like, at the church. And they're the same age. They're both 17. They've been dating for 2 years. They have tried to have sex 29 times in those two years. And on their anniversary, that's the 29th time, and he breaks up with her because, call me, he tells her, you know, we'll get back together when you can physically have sex. And she literally cannot have sex. It doesn't matter what it is. She doesn't use tampons, because her mom was one of those, like, tampons are not for teens, so she uses pads. So she doesn't use tampons, but anything else, like she's tried digits, you know, she's tried fingers, his thing, it just, nothing goes up, it just closes. I think this quote in the back perfectly sums it up. I'm gonna just say that. Jenny Hendricks, I have no idea who this is, and Ted Kaplan say, deeply empowering, sweet yet candid, a fearless story about the path to self-acceptance. And I think that perfectly sums this up. And so we basically follow this journey of her, you know, getting to know herself, you know, and on this journey of her figuring out why this is happening, what's happening. And along the way, she becomes friends with Sasha. They consider Sasha to be the church girl, like, which is hilarious because it's really Monique. Monique doesn't think that she's that kind of church girl, and they think Sasha is, but it's honestly it's the total opposite. So this is Sasha. This is Monique. And then we have Reggie. I love Reggie, y'all. And let me tell you what I almost didn't like about this book. Oh, and he's the bad boy. He's the resident bad boy. He's actually almost being like mentored by her parents, specifically her dad, because he was caught stealing, allegedly. So he's staying a lot. He's not like, it's not forced proximity or anything. It's not like, well, kind of, but he's not like living with them. He still lives at his house, but he spends a lot of time there because they're making him go to church, and his mom doesn't go to church. Jackie, I think her name is Jackie. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying before this. I forgot. But yeah, they create this friendship, and I absolutely love their friendship. I would definitely put this book in the same category as literally the YA books that I've just read. Cemetery Boys, and I'm gonna tell you why. Cemetery Boys, The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, The Name Drop, which is not out yet. I would literally all put these in the same category because yes, a good portion of the book was romance, but there was such a deeper meaning in the book, and I enjoyed the story and the plot even without the romance. The romance was just a great addition. It was just a great addition. I honestly regret not having this is a physical copy, but it's the library. It's a library book, so I honestly regret not trusting my gut and buying my own hardback. I guarantee you I would have ran out of tabbing this. I absolutely loved this book. It's probably my favorite YA. Now, I don't necessarily know what this is. Like, is this a YA contemporary? Is this considered a romance? Because again, yes, a good portion of this is a romance. But again, there's this other story. And I'm not that educated on different genres. I'm just repeating what I hear, if I'm being honest. But there's just something else that's a bigger portion than the romance itself. But yeah, I absolutely love this. And Dom, you can meet me outside. That's all I'm gonna say. 5 stars. And then my last book, which I did finish also yesterday, it does not have a reading vlog. None of the ebooks, besides Sunny Disposition, have a reading vlog. Supreme Survival. I struggled with what to rate it because I don't know. I told myself that it's no lower than a 3, but it's no higher than a 4 either. So we have a girl named Supreme who starts to go by Kaya because she is a sex trafficking victim who was saved, and that's how the book begins. It's not as dark as I thought it was going to be, but I think it's because they didn't really delve deep into that sex trafficking aspect. Yes, we know she was sex trafficked, but it's more like inferred of what she went through. There's no on-page anything. So I think if she would have went obviously deeper into that, yes, it would have been super dark. But she didn't go that deep. And I think I struggled to rate this book because, yes, I enjoyed it. And it's a short book, but it came off so long, and I think I know why. I say this a lot about books that are short, but they come off long, and I never know what I'm talking about or what I'm trying to explain. But I know what it is. This book to me literally had 2 parts. There was clearly 2 parts to this book. There was the first half where Kaya... No, I'll say Supreme. I'll say Supreme was saved, right? And we see this part, and then we see her become Kaya, right? That's that first half. And then the second half of the book, she's reunited with her family. And we get into that, and we get to see a little more romance between her and Terrence. So that's what made the book feel really long, even though it's not that long. It's like 300 pages, or like 290. But it did feel like it dragged on. I think I liked the first half, but then once we got to the second half and she wasn't necessarily with Terrence, because again, she left, she was reunited with family, it just seemed to drag on a bit. It just seemed to drag on. I felt like, I don't know, some things should have just been taken out. It felt really long, and I hate books that feel really long. I really do, because I say that a lot, and that does affect my reading experience. Y'all, right now I'm thinking about this book, and I'm hoping that I said everything that I needed to say, because I know I lost my train of thought when I was speaking, and I think I'm forgetting something, but I'll keep going. But yeah, with Supreme Survival, so I think I decided that I was gonna give it a 3.75, round it to a 4. That could change, because I mean, I enjoyed the story. The story itself I enjoyed. I thought it was unique in its own way, meaning like out of books that I've read. I'm gonna keep it with a 3.75 for now. It could possibly change. I don't know. Oh, don't be surprised if I have another clip of me looking like later on, because I forgot to say something about this. But yes, that is it for this week's video. Let's kind of go over what I've read. So I read my top 6 of what I considered my most anticipated reads. Let's rank them. So coming in at number 6, I would give to Sunny Disposition. It just didn't give what I thought it was going to give. I ended up giving that a 3.75. I don't know. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was a little underwhelming to me. My number 5 spot, I'm going to give to I'm going to give to Supreme Survival. And I'm going to tell you why this is going to get the number 5 spot and not Team Players. Supreme Survival, I like the first half. The second half is what kind of lost me. That's a 3.75 as well. My number 4 spot, or is that, yeah, my number 4 spot is going to be Team Players. It didn't really have me in the first half, but it got me in the second half. I think I'm a second half kind of girly. I just had to get through the first half, and I ended up giving that a 4.25, I believe. Coming in at number 3. Ooh, this is where it gets kind of hard. My top 3. I'm going to say, I'm looking at my Goodreads. That's all I'm doing. Looking at the last 6 books that I read. I think I'm going to give it to the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. Because again, yes, I loved it. And these top 3, they're all 5 stars. Yes, I loved it. However, I think it did. Some parts could have been taken out. Number 2, I think I'm going to give, I don't know. I think I'm going to give to Moth to a Flame. I don't know, y'all. Or should I give it to Confessions? And I remember what I wanted to say about Confessions. This is the perfect length. I don't think I've ever read a book that I thought the length justified, like, that the book justified the length or the length justified the book or whatever. However that's supposed to be worded. So you know what? Just because of that, I'm going to give the number 2 spot to Moth to a Flame. I still loved it. It was a 5 star. But because I thought that Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl, I was about to say, of a teenage drama queen. If you want, that girl, I don't remember the words. But I think I'm going to give this the number 1 spot just because I think that this was not only such a great book, but I think what makes this stand out amongst the other 5 stars in here, Moth to a Flame and the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, I think that this was the perfect length. There was no part in here that I thought dragged on. There was no part in here that I thought was fast. I absolutely think that this was a perfect read. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. Let's jump back into this book really quick. And then we go close out the video. Oh, wait, I just lost my train of thought again. Oh, I am 23 years old. I will be 24 on June 8th. I have never felt so seen with this book. And I'm saying that to say, anybody, you can read whatever you want. I could read middle grade if I wanted to. But I don't expect young adult to move me so much. And the fact that this did was so powerful to me. Like, this is literally going to be my top reads of the year. One of my top reads of the year. And if it's not, bring me to jail. Lock me up because I probably just forgot to write it down. I'm going to be thinking about this book, and just because I'm saying that, I might forget some things. But there was something about this book that just spoke to me. And that's why this was a perfect read. And I don't really get those because I feel like even my 5-star reads, there's something that I didn't like. I could pick something out in Moth to a Flame that I didn't like, sure. I already said the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, I think, could have been a little shorter. This was a perfect read to me. This was absolutely perfect. And that's how we're going to end this video, on a perfect note. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.